felt. And today, I will be sharing the story of a woman named Laurie. So, Laurie's stories basically, and all the other two stories, they reminds us something very powerful, that we don't have to be prisoners of our past. Even when life gives us painful and limiting circumstances, there is always a way, slowly but surely, to shift our reality from the inside out. So let's begin. And Laurie's story starts off when she was only 19 years old. She was a very active young woman. She loved running, she loved dancing, and even trained as a competitive bodybuilder as well. At this time of her age, her life was full of possibilities and future. And then, out of nowhere, she started limping. No accident, no injury, just a limp. And that wouldn't go away. After a year of pain and frustration, she found out she had a very rare degenerative bone disease. It's a condition where your bones literally weaken and fracture on their own because normal bone gets replaced by soft fibrous tissues, and the doctors told her the worst part, there is no cure. So, can you imagine hearing that at age of 19? One moment you were planning your future, and the next you are being told to live carefully, avoid physical activity, and expect to rely on crutches or a wheelchair for rest of their life. Naturally, Laurie was devastated and she quit her job, left her college. She was doing internship that time, and she started spending her days in doctors' offices, hoping to hear something different. She visited 10 specialists. Yes, 10. And every one of them said the same thing, except one, who told her surgery wouldn't even help and she should just give up on the idea of ever being active again. So that was the case. So, what Laurie didn't realize at the time was that this disease wasn't just something that happened to her, it was also connected to how she had lived her life emotionally. So when Laurie was growing up she was, very difficult home. Her father was very abusive, physically, verbally, and emotionally, and she lived in constant fear. Every day, he had to be aware, on ground, ready for his anger. And when children grow up in stressful, abusive environments, their brains and bodies get wired to live in survival mode. That's what happening with Laurie when she was young. That fear, anxiety, and powerlessness get stuck in their nervous system. And in this case, her body literally memorized those emotions. And over time, those chronic stressful emotions signaled the genes connected to her disease to switch on. And this is something modern science now understands well, that our environment and emotions can actually affect our genes expression. And ironically, after her diagnosis, Laurie's illness gave her a strange kind of safety. Now her father stopped physically abusing her. He still yelled and insulted her, but she wasn't hitting him anymore, her anymore. In a way, the disease, you can say, it served a purpose. Now she was feeling little safe. Over the years, Lori's whole life and identity became centered around her illness. She got used to people giving her a seat on the bus. She asked for help carrying things. She got a special treatment. She couldn't go to events, couldn't stand in lines, couldn't date easily. But here is where it gets interested. Over time, she began relying on her disease, not just for survival, but as a way to manage her life. It became who she was. She wasn't Laurie, the funny, smart, and creative person. She was now a Laurie, the sick girl. And the more she thought of herself as weak and fragile, the more her body reflected that. She fractured bones just from walking upstairs or stepping off a curb. By her 30s, now she was using a cane all the time. She even developed arthritis as well. Every part of her life shrank: her friendship, her job, and her freedom. Fast forward, Dr. Dispenza says, many years later, Laurie happened to watch a documentary called What the Bleep Do We Know? And this talked about how thoughts, emotions, and consciousness shape our lives. And while watching that movie, something inside her sparked. For the first time in many years, Laurie wondered, could it be possible to change my life by changing how I think and how I feel? And that curiosity led her to this meditation workshop. She wasn't there to heal her body. Honestly, she didn't believe that was even possible. She just wanted to feel a little less anxious, a little more hopeful. So, at this Dr. Dispenza's workshop, she learned how to meditate, how to notice old negative thought patterns, and how to start imagining a different version of herself. And Laurie didn't have control over her emotions yet, but she realized she could at least control what she says. So she stopped announcing her illness and she stopped using it to explain her life to others. Instead of talking about her illness, she started saying, I have this disease. So instead of saying, I have this disease, she changed it and she started saying, I have nothing at all. I don't have any disease. She just stopped talking about her disease or illness. She also made some small changes in her daily routine. Like she would sit in a different chair. Usually she used to sit in the same chair and now she started using a different chair. Brush her teeth with the other hand. Fold her arms differently. Even switch the side of the bed where she slept on. So because these little things might seem silly, but they matter. When you change your habits, you send new messages to your brain and your body. You interrupt the old familiar patterns. So her goal. She started doing routine things differently. She kept meditating even when it was hard. She wrote down new positive thoughts even if she didn't fully believe them. She started writing them down. She told herself words like, I am whole, I am grateful, I am strong. Because she hasn't started fully believing yet, but she started working towards it. And little by little, not overnight, Laurie began to feel different. She started feeling better. And nearly 2 years of this effort, meditation every day, watching her thoughts, making small changes, and focusing on imagining a new, joyful, healthy version of herself. Laurie had a powerful experience during one of her workshops. In a deep meditation, something inside her finally shifted. She described it as a rush of emotion, like joy and peace, flooding her whole body. For the first time, she felt something greater than herself, a kind of loving, healing energy she had never known. So finally, she experienced it. And here's the beautiful part. From that moment on, Laurie began to change on the inside. She smiled more, she laughed more, she felt lighter, and very soon her body started to reflect those changes too. And a few months later, during a checkup with her orthopedist, something amazing happens. The doctor looked at her x rays and noticed that a major fracture Laurie had carried in her leg since she was 19 had almost disappeared. Two-thirds of it was gone. The doctor was stunned. He told her to start using a stationary bike now, something he would never have recommended before. Laurie was overjoyed. But then a little setback. A different lab test suggested her disease was still active. Naturally, she felt disappointed, but instead of falling back into fear and hopelessness, Laurie reminded herself that real lasting change takes some time. So she kept doing same work. Over the next few months, Laurie kept meditating, kept imagining her future life, not focusing on the disease anymore, but on the kind of what kind of person she wanted to be joyful, active, healthy, and free. And she filled her days with gratitude. She thanked her the sunshine, her car, her people she loved, even the parking spots she found easily. And she no longer needed proof from the outside world to feel good on the inside. And when it was time for her follow up test a few months later, something incredible happened. The test came back completely normal, and the disease markers in her body were gone. Laurie, who had been told at age of 19 that she would spend her life on crutches or in a wheelchair, who had lived with fractures for nearly 3 decades, was healthy now. And more importantly, she was free on the inside. Laurie later said she realized something powerful. She had spent her whole life identifying as the sick person. That identity had consumed her. But by shifting her thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, by letting go of the old story and creating a new one, she rewrote her future. So, Dr. Dispenza says Laurie's story isn't just about miraculous healing, it's about the power we all have to change our inner world, to let go of old labels and limitations, to stop defining ourselves by our past pain, our mistakes, or other people's opinions. Yes, it takes time. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But as Laurie discovered, when you start making small changes, focus on gratitude, and imagine a future that you love, your body and life will begin to reflect the new story. So, I will leave you with this thought. What old story are you still telling yourself? Ask yourself, what would happen if, like Laurie, you stopped repeating it and started creating a new one. So just think and think. Dr. Dispanja says our mind is very powerful, and when you change your mind, you change your life. So from this thought, I'm leaving you. Thank you so much for listening, and hope you will join me again tomorrow. So now let's sit comfortably and enjoy the meditation together. So everybody, please relax. Sit very comfortably. Cross your feet. Clasp your hands. Close your eyes. If you are wearing glasses, please remove them now. Take a deep breath in and out. Take another deep breath in and out. Now focus on your normal, natural breath. Be with your breath, masters. Be with your breath. Thoughts will come and go. We don't analyze them. It's natural. Just focus on your normal, natural breath. Be with your breath, masters. Be with your breath. Normal, calmly. Be with your breath, masters. Be with your breath. We'll continue meditation for next 45 minutes. Be with your breath, masters. Be with your breath. Last 5 minutes, masters. Be with your breath. Be with your breath, masters. Be with your breath. Last 30 seconds. Be with your breath, masters. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, very slowly, please bring back your awareness to your body. Put both of your hands over your closed eyes. Blink your eyes and open them. Look at your palm with a big smile and thank yourself. Today I felt very high energy, masters. If you want to continue your meditation, you can. Others, if you have any question or any comment, or you want to share your experience, please unmute yourself and share with us.
Thank you, Sushma.
Thank you, Madam Rama. All right, so see you all tomorrow. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining.